We're continuing our Kabbalah quiz from 36 to 40. 5 next question. So, the next question we have is, what do we do in Olam Haba? Olam Haba, the world to come once we die. So first we have to understand what we have. We're going to have 6,000 years of history, corresponding to the 6 days of the week. Then we have 1,000 years of Moshiach, which corresponds to the 7th millennium, which is the 7th day, corresponding to Shabbos. And there we're going to have the whole world living in unity, recognizing God. And then comes the period of reward called Olam Haba, which is where we're going to fully experience all what we have become. So this is what Olam Haba is. So it's going to be starting the 8th stage, 8,000. The Ramchal speaks about 3 stages, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. Corresponds 3 levels of consciousness is entering the brain. Those who know about the spheres, also, I'm going to show you the picture, make everybody understand. So we have the 7,000 years of history. This is the 6,000 years, the 6 days of the week. Then we have Shabbos, the 7th. That corresponds to this world, the lower world, and in harmony with, when it's repaired, it's in harmony with the spiritual, and the head represents the spiritual. And then we're going to have the 8, 9, 10,000 corresponding to the 3 upper spheres, which is 3 levels of consciousness of spiritual elevation, where we're going to experience fully what we have done in this world, what we have become, what we have created, what we have not created, destroyed also. But we don't know exactly what it is. No human being has seen it or was ever there, because it didn't happen. It was supposed to happen right after Gan Eden with Adam and Eve, but it was lost after his sin, meaning the level. We're supposed to have it right away after Shabbat, but we got stuck with the 7 days, the 6 days of the week to repair. So that's, but we know that on Olam Haba, the tzaddikim are gonna be Nehene Miziv HaShechina. We're gonna that's going to start already in Gan Eden, but we are gonna be able to have direct light on us from Hashem, a direct connection to God. I like to call it sun-tanning from the rays of light of the divine presence of God, whatever that means. But basically we're going to have an intense connection with God, with the universe, with everything on the highest level. Plus we're going to be we continue to grow in Olam Haba. These stages, but we grow based on who we are, who we have become. If you are someone who grow in love, then you grow more and more and more in love, and you're going to see all the details and the branches of what you have created and who has built a world. So it says that in Olam Haba, every tzaddik has a different planet, meaning that every one of us is going to have its own unique world of what he has created. Here we're like architects building our spiritual world for the future, and in the future we'll be able to sit in that house that we have built, sit in that world that we have built. That's a little bit, I guess, a taste of what Olam Haba really is, but obviously we don't fully understand it or know it. It's just like metaphors or taste of what it is. We know Shabbat is main Olam Haba, a taste of Olam Haba, where we just sit and we enjoy what we have accomplished during the week. We're there with the family, what we have created. So that's the same idea. So that's Olam Haba, and we also continue learning, growing, learning more about God, getting closer and closer and closer to God. That's what Olam Haba is. It's going to infinite. Imagine you love someone very close, you're married, so it's the infinite degrees of between husband and wife to get closer and closer and closer. That's what Olam Haba is going to be. Each one in its own unique way in his relationship with God. Number 37 is, why do we dream? So there's a few reasons why we dream. The basic reason is that it is a therapeutical process. That's why someone that doesn't dream for 30 days says in the Gemara that he's gonna die. Uh, what does that mean? Is that his soul is not connected. But basically, it's a therapeutical process where when you sleep, your mind and soul processes everything you have gone through the day, and when you dream, you're bringing out the things that came out that impacted you. It's a review of the day, and if there was something that were a little bit intense, it really comes out, and we try to cope with that. So let's say someone, like kids, they see a horror movie, or like they got scared of something, it comes back in the dream as a therapeutical, so they relive it. Sometimes it's many nightmare comes again and again, because the body needs to process, it needs to come out, it needs to be lived by, and it repeats until we can cope with it. It's like, okay, speak about it, get it out. So that's whatever stays in the body is going to come out through the dream. It gets stuck, it goes out in the brain brings it out in a dream. So that's this very simple level, more therapeutical, psychological level. Then a more, so that's processing the previous day. Then this higher level of dreams, basically when we sleep, the soul detaches from the body. As it detaches from the body, the more spiritual you are, the higher it goes up in the spiritual world. And the higher you go, sorry, I made a back movement, you heard me. So our soul goes up in heaven, and basically as it goes through the spiritual world, it crosses it connects to different things in the spiritual world, and therefore sometimes the soul can have glimpses of what's happened there. The more pure we are, the more holy we are, the more we can remember those things, because our soul is able to connect to it. If we don't, then that means we're not holy enough, and that's why we most of the time don't remember our dreams, or there was nothing crazy to remember. So that's the high level reason why we dream. We dream to recharge and connect eventually to the spiritual world, and get sometimes or therapeutical process or prophetical insight. Or God sometimes teach us through our dreams, or wants to warn us something about our dream, or want to give a message for the people, for yourself or for the people. So prophecy usually happens through dream, if it happens nowadays. But it's very, very rare. 38. What is practical Kabbalah, and is it allowed? Practical Kabbalah is not allowed to be practiced at all. There's very, very few exceptions when practical Kabbalah can be used, because practical Kabbalah basically is manipulating the forces that God has created. God doesn't want us to manipulate creation, He just wants us to elevate creation. But we're not supposed to change the order of the way things are. Plus, we're not here to be magicians, or to be just mystics, and being like Harry Potter type of guy. We are here to elevate the world, to live in the physical, and to harmonize it with the spiritual, elevate the physical through the spiritual, or the spiritual through the physical. And practical Kabbalah is just understanding it's like an alchemist who understands really how everything works, and because he understands, well, actually I should say, a chemist that takes different things, but he can create an atomic bomb and destroy the whole world. That's the danger with practical Kabbalah. You might use forces that you don't have control of, or you're not holy enough to do it. And even you use it, there's very few instances that they were used by rabbis, and even then many rabbis didn't refuse to use it, or they were like regret that they used it, because it's not the way of the Jew, the way of the real Kabbalist to do those things. We have to rely more on our it's not a shortcut. In a way, it's a practical Kabbalah is a shortcut, but some things are sometimes allowed, and but it exists, and yes, it can become. That was the question 39. When does Kabbalah become dangerous? Kabbalah becomes dangerous uh, when we start using God's name and manipulating spiritual forces that we don't reserve, we don't not that on yet on that level, and therefore because of that, we are misusing the crown. That's the way it's described. My Rebbe showed me a Zohar that say that when Kabbalah is taught to unworthy people, just the teaching to unworthy people, it's very bad. It's destructive in a way. It's giving forces to the evil side. Today we have to. Kabbalah is more spread out, and there needs to be a higher. We are all striving for higher level of awareness. The whole world is changing little by little through meditation and consciousness. We're understanding more and more of it. We're getting closer to the spiritual reality as we come to the end of the 6,000 years, and therefore, we should learn Kabbalah, but we have to do it with the right rabbis or with the authentic rabbis, authentic Mesorah tradition, and Kabbalah can become dangerous when we misuse it, basically. And practical Kabbalah is a way to misuse it and should never be used. We have something called Segula. I have a lot of books on Segulot, what you can do, based on practical Kabbalah, but this is not. There's no point to do it. It's not what we're here for, and we're not here to be magicians. We're here to work on ourselves hard, work on character traits, and become better people, and become more spiritual through physical work, through emotional work, through intellectual work. And that's the true spiritual person, the real spiritual person, someone who works on himself and become a loving person, full of love and full of giving good character traits, honesty, truth. That's the real spiritual person. When we work on character traits, we little by little become sensitive, become more spiritual, as opposed to disconnect from anything physical. Then you're not really working on something. If you want to be spiritual, then you have to go. You have to go with the body. The body is the path to spirituality in this world. Otherwise, we'll just be angels. We're not here to disconnect completely from the physical, like monks, and not be challenged through the physical and the tests. So all those tests, all the challenges, all the desires, those are good. Sometimes we think I'm a bad person because I have this desire or that. No, that's not true. You're not a bad person. You're here. That's your work. That's why we are here for. You're a bad person if you let it control yourself and you just follow it. You have to control it. It's not easy, but that's what we're here for. If it was easy, we don't need to be here. The work is here, and it's in order to get a reward that we have that work. So number 40 is do we believe in Dibbuk, which is an exorcism. Dibbuk is usually a soul that takes over the body and controls the body. There's a lot of movies about it, and exorcism is the process from which you remove that soul. Usually it's an evil soul or a lost soul that cannot go into the spiritual world because after the person dies, because it's not good enough. It has to go through some tests, some extra things, and it tries to take the body to feel better, so to speak, whatever that means, to survive. So the idea is that Dibbuk is very real. It happens. It's rare. It only happens to people who are usually connected to satanic cult or with very dark things. And exorcism is being done by the Vatican, by Kabbalist rabbis. And basically we have a whole book here that tells you how to exorcise someone, if need is, to take out the soul and save that person from that possession. So they are real and they exist and they're very part of the Jewish tradition. There's always some people who go against it and say it's not true, but according to most, the Arizal, which was one of the greatest rabbis ever existed, he's the one who taught it to us in detail, and we have it today and has been used. But nowadays there's even videos or cases that we can see on YouTube or that. So it's not a simple thing. And all the movies that we have, why did I think of those movies? Because, sorry, I heard myself again. The reason they did those movies with horror, possession, and it all comes from Kabbalah, from that concept. Who will invent something like that, a movie that someone is going to be possessed, and then only because there's such a thing? Obviously, every concept that exists in movies have to originate somewhere. Sometimes expanded, exaggerated, but the basic concept exists in the world. That's why they were able to think of it. Anyway, that's for another discussion, and we shall continue soon. Thank you for listening.